Konnichiwa, good day everyone. Before I'll start, I would like to introduce to you myself. I am Rayalon Ramos, and this time I will be dealing about coping with the challenges of intercultural communication. And for this, I decided to choose the country Japan. As we begin, we have verbal. Under verbal, we have the indirect communication. The Japanese communication pattern is very indirect and far less verbose than what English speaking in the West is familiar with. They rely less on words to the posture, expression, and the tone of voice of the speaker to draw meaning from a conversation. In order to maintain harmony throughout conversation and prevent loss of face or either end, they make use ambiguous speech and understatements to convey their message in a more subtle way. The best way of navigating underlying meaning is to check for clarification several times using open-ended questions. First thing first, we have refusal. For refusal, the cultural preoccupation with saving face and being impolite means that the Japanese may wish to avoid giving a flat or negative response, even when they don't agree with you. Therefore, focus on hints of hesitation. Listen closely to what they say, but also pay careful attention to what they don't say, and implicitly mean it's a good idea to clarify and double-check your understanding. Next, we have laughter. For laughter, when communicating bad news, a Japanese person may smile and laugh to diffuse the uncomfortable situation. People may also cover their mouth when they giggle. It is rare to see big bursts of laughter with corresponding gestures. Next up, we have nonverbal. Under nonverbal, we have physical contact. The appropriacy of physical contact varies depending on the context in Japan. You can expect a Japanese person to immediately apologize if they bump into or brush against you by accident. However, often the situation is unavoidable, such as on crowded public transport. In these situations, people are generally accustomed to a lack of personal space. Next, we have body language. The Japanese do not gesture very much while speaking, as their body language is largely restrained. Instead, they often hold their hands together as they speak, which prevents them room gesturing throughout the conversation. Next, we have eye contact. For Japanese, they avoid the eye contact with the strangers, for it is considered rude to stare. Next, we have the facial expression. It is common for Japanese people to maintain a placid expression and smile during an interaction, regardless of the topic. This evidently differs between personalities, but a modest, reserved demeanor is polite. Furthermore, consider that whilst smiling can indicate happiness, it is sometimes used in an attempt to cover awkwardness or sadness. Next, we have nodding. Japanese people often nod to acknowledge what is said. However, this does not always mean they agree or understand. It is primarily a gesture made out of politeness. Next, we have here feet. Displaying the soles of your feet is considered rude. Next is inhaling. When a Japanese person inhales air through their teeth, It is usually implies disagreement. Next up, we have here silence. Silence is an important and purposeful tool used in Asian communication. Pausing before giving a response indicates that someone has applied appropriate thought and consideration to the question. This reflects politeness and respect. Next, we have beckoning. It is impolite to beckon people who you are not close friends with. Beckoning is done by facing the palm of the hand to the ground and waving one's fingers towards oneself. Individual fingers should not be used. Next, we have here pointing. Pointing is done using the entire hand unless referring to oneself, in which case they place their index finger in their nose, as we can see in that image. Next is waving. Shaking the hand with the palm facing forward from side to side means no. Next up, we have here gesture. A Japanese person may clasp their hands together in front of their chest when apologizing or accepting something. This expresses gratitude and respect. And that ends. And I hope you gain knowledge from this presentation. At last, sayonara, arigato.